Junkie Nation, what's going on? Back at it again. Kenny Florian joining us here on the program. Successful as a fighter, now kicking ass as a commentator over at PFL. Welcome back to Junkie Radio, Kenny. How are you?
How are you guys?
Doing good, and yourself?
I am well. Good to be back on here.
Yeah.
It's like home.
Thank you, man. Kenny, you guys just wrapped up the regular season at
Yes, sir.
PFL. Tell me, what was something that stood out to you for this past regular season that leads into the playoffs that gets you excited?
I think the biggest thing is, our Peruvian friend, Jesus Pinedo, winning, getting into the playoffs and beating one of the best fighters, I think, at 145 pounds, period. I think he's absolutely elite. I'm talking, of course, about Brendan Loughnane,
Right.
Our champion from last year. And, Jesus came in here extremely confident. He had an absolute war against Gabriel Braga from Brazil. A lot of people thought he actually won the fight. It was close. Certainly could have gone either way, in my opinion. And then came back and did exactly what he needed to do to advance. He ended up knocking out Brendan Loughnane in round one. To me, that was the thing that stood out the most, just because it was such a massive upset. And the manner in which he beat him was extremely impressive. And he was telling everybody that he was going to do that exact thing. So I was blown away. And, of course, it's always cool to see mixed martial arts grow in Peru and to see these fighters come up and get the respect.
Kenny, back in the day when you retired, there weren't the options that there are today, right?
Yeah.
Bare knuckle and boxing and karate combat. Had they been around, would you have maybe dabbled in something like that?
I don't know. It's tough to say. I was always most intrigued by mixed martial arts, right? Like, that was the thing. That was the biggest challenge for me. But I don't know. I think, karate combat's very intriguing. You have other promotions that are putting on really cool striking events, Muay Thai and mixed events, little gloves in a cage for Muay Thai. So I think it's cool. I think it is a very, very good time to be a martial artist, be a professional fighter right now.
For those of you who don't know, they just showed Kenny's image on the big screen and the fans are going nuts. Kenny,
Of course that's what it was, yeah.
I promise you I'm not an evil person. However, I probably watched John Anik fall off his chair. I'm down to about once a day, but I was doing that shit like 3-4 times and just I couldn't stop laughing, dude. What was it like for you?
It was good. It was very good. I wasn't sure what was going on. It's like he just kind of disappeared. I thought there was a trap door underneath his chair that just sucked him into some kind of black hole. So my reaction time, I was like, he's gone. Where did he go? Oh, he fell. Oh, his chair broke. That's insane. But it was one of those beautiful organic moments that happened in a podcast. And I think we gained more followers from that. So I told John if he could set up some kind of chair that collapses on him every month, that would be great.
Kenny, last question from me. There was a big controversy in that last fight with Schulte and Manfield. We've all had time to digest it.
Yeah.
Good sides have been brought from both sides, I felt like I was on the side of what PFL and how they acted. Now that time's happened, now that you've heard the other side, just maybe put it into your words. Was the right thing done, or do you agree, or sort that out for us from your viewpoint? I'm sure you got to see the fight again.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great question. It's tough, right? Because I can certainly side on the side of the fighters, and the fighters, I mean, Natan, Schulte, and Jesus Manfield, in that they were put in a very difficult spot. These guys are literal best friends. They are godfathers to each other's kids, so I can certainly sympathize with their situation. But, it's very explicit. It's very clear in the contract that you have to actually fight 100%. And to me, while watching the fight, I tried to be as honest as possible. When I was watching the fight, I was like, this is basically a sparring session. It might have been less than a sparring session. They weren't really throwing full out. Now, some people are saying, well, hey, this isn't a fighter's first thing. The PFL, put these guys in this situation. They can't just put Shane Burgos in that situation and put him to advance into the playoffs now. Well, I would argue and say, well, actually they are, because for someone who did fight their butts off to try to make it to the other side of the bracket, and you see two other guys that didn't really take any punches, didn't really take any kicks. It was basically a grappling match. You could argue, hey, I had to fight my way and risk my health to get to the other side and make it to the playoffs. These guys really didn't. So I see both sides, but I think in the end, the PFL did the right thing, because almost as an organization, not that I'm, really big on putting these fighters down. They got to learn their lessons. But at the same time, how do you as an organization have something like that happen and not penalize the fighters? You know, if you do that, you almost open up a big Pandora's box to other people go, well, I mean, they did it. Why can't we do it? And I think moving on to the future, I think it would be in the best interest of all organizations to say, hey, listen, we're not going to have two guys that are best friends, that fight in the same team, that have that kind of relationship, fight each other, because you risk this thing actually happening, especially when you're talking about guys that are trying to make it to the playoffs and have these things. So that's my take on it. It's unfortunate all the way around. I feel bad for all parties. And, you know, I think if Shane Burgos was outpointed by someone else, that person would have been put in that situation. They would have advanced instead of Shane Burgos, in my opinion. So, I don't think it was about Shane Burgos, them trying to put him into the playoffs. I don't think that was foul play on the part of the PFL.
I was going to say, Kenny, you probably said that. I couldn't have thought of a better way of explaining all that.
No,
we feel very, very similar to you. You can't say it because you're a nice guy. We'll say it. Fans, sometimes you're just dumb. If that's what they wanted to do, why would they give him OAM in the first round?
Right.
Come on, that just doesn't make sense. But everything else, yeah, man, spot on. We feel the same way.
Thank you, boys.
Always doing a great job at PFL. We look forward to the playoffs coming up here. $1 million over at PFL on ESPN. You guys have gotten a lot of shine this year. So thank you as always for your time here on Junkie Radio.
Thanks so much, guys. I don't know what's up with the Man United shirt, but that needs to change.